Hey Scorpio, welcome back. Today we are diving into something that I know has been on your mind lately. And honestly, when I sat down with the cards this morning to tune into your energy, I felt this immediate intensity. Like the kind of energy that makes you sit up straighter in your chair. So the question we are exploring today is what is really going on with this intense love energy you have been feeling? Because I know you, Scorpio, you do not do anything halfway, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. When you feel something, you feel it with your entire being, and right now there is something brewing in your love life that demands our attention. Before we get into the cards, I just want to say that I have been reading tarot for years now, and every single time I do a reading for Scorpio energy, there is this depth that shows up. You folks do not mess around with surface-level connections. You want the real thing, the transformative kind of love that changes you at a soul level. And the energy coming through today is absolutely reflecting that intensity. So grab your coffee or tea. Get comfortable because we have a lot to unpack. Here, and trust me, the cards have so much to say to you right now. Let me start by pulling the first card to see what is at the foundation of this intense love energy you are experiencing. And wow, okay. The first card that came through is the Ace of Swords. And this is already telling me so much. The Ace of Swords is all about mental clarity, truth, and breakthrough moments. This is the card of cutting through illusions and seeing things exactly as they are. So right at the foundation of this intense love energy, there is a truth that is trying to emerge. This is not about fantasy or wishful thinking. This is about raw, unfiltered truth. What I am picking up here is that you have been doing some serious mental work around love lately. Maybe you have been asking yourself hard questions about what you really want, what you really deserve, or maybe you have been seeing through some patterns that were not serving you. The Ace of Swords does not let us hide from reality. It is that moment when you suddenly see something so clearly that you cannot unsee it. And in the context of love, this often means you are having these lightning bolt realizations about someone or about your relationship patterns in general. The interesting thing about this card showing up first is that it tells me this intense energy is not just emotional. It is also deeply intellectual. You are not just feeling your way through this, you are also thinking about it, analyzing it, trying to understand it from every angle. That is so Scorpio, by the way. You need to understand the psychology behind everything. You need to know the why. And right now, there is this drive to get to the absolute truth of what this connection means or could mean. But here is what I want you to consider with the Ace of Swords. This card can sometimes indicate that we are being a bit too much in our heads about matters of the heart. Yes, clarity is important. Yes, truth is essential. But sometimes we can overthink ourselves into paralysis. Sometimes we analyze so much that we forget to just feel. So if you have been turning this situation over and over in your mind, trying to figure out every possible angle and outcome, the cards might be gently suggesting that at some point you also need to let yourself just experience what is happening without dissecting it constantly. The Ace of Swords is also about communication, and I am sensing that there might be important conversations on the horizon for you. Things that need to be said, questions that need to be asked, truths that need to be spoken. This card is encouraging you to use your words, to be clear and direct about what you are feeling and what you want. No games, no hints, no expecting the other person to read your mind. Just honest, straightforward communication. And I know that can feel vulnerable, especially for you, Scorpio, because you like to maintain some level of mystery and control. But this situation is calling for transparency. Moving to the second card, because I want to understand what is really driving this intensity from an emotional standpoint. And the card that came through is Judgment. Oh, Scorpio, this is huge. Judgment is one of those major arcana cards that signals a significant turning point, a moment of awakening, a call to step into a new phase of life. When Judgment shows up in a love reading, it is often about past life connections, karmic relationships, or moments where you are being called to make an important decision about your path forward. What I am getting here is that this intense love energy you are feeling is not random. This is not just a casual attraction or a passing infatuation. There is something much deeper at play here. Judgment suggests that this connection or this situation is meant to wake something up in you. It is meant to trigger a transformation. You know how sometimes you meet someone or go through an experience and afterwards you are not the same person anymore? That is the energy of Judgment. This is a defining moment in your love life. The card shows people rising up, answering a call, being reborn in a sense. And I feel like you are at this crossroads right now where you are being asked to rise to a new level in how you approach love and relationships. Maybe in the past you had certain patterns, certain walls you put up, certain ways you protected yourself. And those things served you at the time, they kept you safe. But now you are being called to something more. You are being called to show up more authentically, more vulnerably, more wholeheartedly. Judgment also has this quality of truth and reckoning. It is about facing things honestly, about not being able to hide from reality anymore. If there have been any illusions or denials in your love life, this energy is burning them away. You are seeing things with crystal clarity now. And that can be intense because sometimes the truth is not comfortable. Sometimes it challenges us to make difficult decisions or to admit things we have been avoiding. But ultimately, Judgment is a positive card because it leads to freedom and authenticity. I also want to mention that Judgment can indicate a relationship that has significant spiritual or karmic undertones. Like you might feel with this person or in this situation that there is something fated about it, something that was meant to happen. You might have this sense of recognition, like your soul knows this energy even if your logical mind is still trying to catch up. That is the kind of intense energy that Judgment brings. It is not light and breezy, it is profound and life-changing. The third card I pulled is looking at what you need to understand about this situation, and I got the High Priestess. Okay, so now we have 3 really powerful cards in a row, and they are all speaking to this theme of truth, intuition, and deeper knowing. The High Priestess is the keeper of secrets, the guardian of intuition, the one who sees beyond the veil. She is telling you that not everything about this situation is visible on the surface. There are layers here, mysteries, things that have not been revealed yet. What strikes me about the High Priestess in this position is that she is asking you to trust your intuition above all else. You know that gut feeling you get about people and situations? That deep knowing that comes from somewhere beyond logic? That is your High Priestess speaking to you. And in this love situation, your intuition is probably telling you some very important things. The question is, are you listening to it, or are you letting your mind override what your intuition knows to be true? The High Priestess also represents the unconscious, the hidden realms, the things we feel but cannot always articulate. This suggests that there might be unconscious patterns or dynamics at play in this situation. Maybe there are things from your past, from your childhood, from previous relationships that are influencing how you are responding to this intense energy. The High Priestess is inviting you to explore those depths, to understand yourself at a deeper level so you can show up more consciously in this connection. Another aspect of the High Priestess is divine timing. She sits between the pillars, she does not rush, she simply knows that everything unfolds exactly when it is meant to. If you have been feeling impatient about this situation, if you have been wanting things to move faster or become clearer sooner, the High Priestess is reminding you that some things cannot be forced. Some truths need time to reveal themselves. Some connections need space to develop organically. Your job right now is to stay connected to your inner wisdom and trust the process. There is also something about the High Priestess that speaks to maintaining some mystery and not laying all your cards on the table immediately. While the Ace of Swords was encouraging clear communication, the High Priestess is saying you do not have to explain everything about yourself right away. You do not have to rush into vulnerability before the trust is fully established. There is wisdom in taking your time, in revealing yourself layer by layer, in allowing the other person to earn access to your depths. The fourth card is about the other person's energy, or the energy of the connection itself, and I pulled the Knight of Swords. Alright, so this is getting really interesting because we now have multiple swords cards, which tells me there is a lot of mental energy, communication, and movement happening here. The Knight of Swords is fast, direct, assertive, and sometimes a bit impulsive. This is someone who knows what they want and goes after it with determination. If this card represents another person in your life right now, they are likely someone with a very sharp mind, someone who is articulate and communicates directly. They probably move quickly in life and in relationships. They are not the type to play games or beat around the bush. When the Knight of Swords is interested in someone, they make it known. They pursue. They are confident and decisive. This could be air sign energy, someone who is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or it could just be someone with a lot of air qualities in their personality. The intensity you are feeling might partly be coming from the pace at which this person operates, or the directness of their energy. The Knight of Swords does not do slow burns, they do lightning strikes. So if you have been feeling swept up or like things are moving very quickly, that would make sense with this card. The question is whether you are comfortable with this pace or whether you need things to slow down a bit so you can process everything that is happening. Now, if we look at the Knight of Swords as representing the energy of the connection itself rather than a specific person, then what we are seeing is that this connection has a quality of urgency to it. There is momentum here. Things are happening. Decisions might need to be made. Conversations are being had or need to be had. This is not a passive energy. This is active and dynamic. Something is pushing forward and you are going to need to decide how you want to respond to that. One thing to be aware of with the Knight of Swords is that sometimes this energy can be a bit aggressive or insensitive without meaning to be. The Knight of Swords is so focused on their objective that they might not always notice the emotional nuances of a situation. So if you are dealing with someone who has this energy, they might say things very directly without considering how those words might land emotionally. They are not trying to hurt you. They just operate from a very mental, logical place rather than an emotional one. This is something to keep in mind as you navigate the situation. Let me pull the fifth card to see what challenges or obstacles might be present in this situation. And the card that came through is the Page of Wands. Okay, so this is interesting because the Page of Wands is actually quite a positive card. Pages represent messages, new beginnings, enthusiasm, and curiosity. In the suit of Wands, we are talking about passion, creativity, inspiration, and adventure. So why would this be showing up as a challenge? What I am sensing here is that the challenge might be about inexperience or naivety in some way. The Page of Wands is young energy, someone who is excited and eager, but maybe does not have all the tools or wisdom yet to handle a deep, intense connection like the one you are experiencing. This could indicate that either you or the other person might be approaching this situation with more enthusiasm than actual relationship skills or emotional maturity. The passion is definitely there, the excitement is real, but there might be a learning curve. Another interpretation is that the challenge is about staying power. Pages are wonderful for starting things, for that initial spark and excitement, but they are not always great at following through when things get real or difficult. So there might be a question here about whether this intense energy can be sustained over time or whether it is more of a flash in the pan. The passion is undeniable, but can it evolve into something stable and lasting? That is what the Page of Wands is asking you to consider. The Page of Wands can also indicate scattered energy or a lack of focus. Maybe there are too many ideas about what this connection could be, too many possibilities, and not enough grounding in what it actually is right now. Or maybe one person is excited about multiple things in their life, and the relationship is just one of many adventures they are pursuing. This can create a feeling of instability or uncertainty, which might be contributing to the intensity you are experiencing. You might be wondering where you actually stand or how serious this really is. On a more positive note, the Page of Wands as a challenge is also encouraging you to maintain a sense of playfulness and adventure in this connection. Do not let the intensity become so heavy that you forget to have fun. Do not let your Scorpio need for depth and meaning suck all the lightness out of the situation. Sometimes relationships need room to breathe, to play, to explore without everything having to be so serious and significant all the time. The Page of Wands is reminding you that love can also be joyful and fun and spontaneous. The sixth card I am pulling is about what you need to release or let go of in order to move forward with clarity. And wow, the card that came through is Ten of Pentacles. Now this is unexpected because Ten of Pentacles is usually such a positive card. It represents legacy, family, long-term security, traditional values, established structures. So what does it mean to release this energy? What I am picking up is that you might need to release certain expectations about what this relationship should look like or what path it should follow. Ten of Pentacles often represents very traditional relationship milestones, the whole progression of dating, engagement, marriage, building a life together, creating a family legacy. And maybe you have had a very specific picture in your mind about how love is supposed to unfold. Maybe you have been measuring this connection against some ideal or standard that was given to you by family or society or past experiences. The cards are suggesting that this particular connection might not fit into those traditional molds, and that is okay. It might look different than what you expected. It might unfold in ways that surprise you. And if you hold too rigidly to a specific vision of what it should be, you might miss the beauty of what it actually is or could become. The Ten of Pentacles as a release card is asking you to be more flexible, more open to unconventional paths. There is also something here about releasing family expectations or baggage. Maybe your family has certain ideas about who you should be with or what kind of relationship you should have. Or maybe there are patterns from your family of origin that are influencing how you approach this connection. The Ten of Pentacles can represent inherited patterns, things that get passed down through generations. And sometimes we need to consciously release those patterns in order to create something new and authentic for ourselves. Another layer to this is about not rushing into long-term, planning before the foundation is solid. 10 of Pentacles is the end result, the established structure, the lifetime commitment. But you cannot build that overnight. Maybe there has been a tendency to want to skip ahead to the security and stability without doing the work of really getting to know each other and building trust. The cards are saying slow down. Do not try to force this into a 10 of Pentacles situation prematurely. Let it develop naturally. I also sense that releasing 10 of Pentacles might be about letting go of the need for complete security and certainty before you open your heart. Scorpio, you want to know exactly where this is going before you fully invest emotionally. You want guarantees, but love does not work like that. At some point, you have to take a leap of faith without knowing for certain what the outcome will be. You have to be willing to risk your heart even if you cannot see the entire roadmap laid out in front of you. The 7th card is looking at what is possible in this connection, what the potential is if things align in the right way. And I pulled 9 of Pentacles. Oh, this is beautiful. 9 of Pentacles is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. It represents independence, self-sufficiency, luxury, refinement, and enjoying the fruits of your labor. This is the energy of someone who has done the work on themselves, who has created a beautiful life, and who stands in their own power with grace and confidence. What this tells me about the potential of this connection is that it could support both people in becoming their best selves. 9 of Pentacles is not about losing yourself in a relationship. It is about maintaining your individuality, your independence, your sense of self while also being in partnership. This connection has the potential to be one where both people lift each other up, where you inspire each other to reach new heights, where you support each other's growth and success. The 9 of Pentacles often shows a figure in a beautiful garden that they have cultivated themselves. They are standing alone but not lonely. They are complete within themselves. And I think this is key to understanding the potential here. The best version of this connection would be one where you come together as two whole people, not two halves trying to complete each other. You each bring your own fullness, your own richness, your own achievements, and then you choose to share that abundance with each other. There is also something here about being able to enjoy the finer things in life together. 9 of Pentacles has an appreciation for beauty, quality, and luxury. This could be a connection where you inspire each other to elevate your lifestyle, to invest in experiences that are meaningful and enriching, to create beauty together. Whether that is traveling to beautiful places, creating a beautiful home, or simply appreciating art and culture together, there is potential for this relationship to add a lot of richness to your life. The 9 of Pentacles is also about patience and timing. The figure in the card did not achieve that abundance overnight. They worked for it. They waited for the garden to grow. They tended to things carefully over time. So the potential here might not be immediate. This could be something that develops and deepens over months or even years. But if both people are willing to invest the time and energy, the potential for something really beautiful and substantial is definitely there. I want to pull an 8th card to look at what advice the universe has for you right now as you navigate this intense energy. And the card that came through is 7 of Wands. All right, so 7 of Wands is about standing your ground, defending your position, not backing down even when you face opposition or challenges. This is the card of courage and conviction. When everyone else is doubting you, you hold firm to what you know to be true. The advice here is to trust yourself and your choices even if other people do not understand or approve. If you feel drawn to this connection, if your intuition is telling you there is something real here, then do not let outside voices talk you out of it. People might have opinions. They might question whether this is right for you. They might point out all the reasons why it might not work. And you need to be strong enough to hold your own truth regardless of what anyone else thinks. 7 of Wands also suggests that this connection might require you to fight for it in some way. Not fight in the sense of conflict with the other person, but fight against circumstances that might be working against you. Maybe there are obstacles like distance, timing, other commitments, or external pressures. The 7 of Wands is saying that if this matters to you, you might need to put in effort to make it work. You might need to be persistent and determined. You might need to believe in it even when things get difficult. There is also an element here about protecting this connection from negative energy. Sometimes when something good is developing in our lives, there can be people who consciously or unconsciously try to undermine it. Maybe they are jealous, maybe they are protective of you in a way that becomes controlling, or maybe they just have their own agenda. The Seven of Wands is about creating boundaries and not letting other people's energy interfere with what you are building. Another aspect of this card is about confidence. The figure on the Seven of Wands stands on higher ground. They have the advantage. The advice might be to approach this situation from a place of confidence rather than insecurity. You are an amazing person with so much to offer. You do not need to beg for anyone's attention or affection. You do not need to twist yourself into knots trying to be what you think they want. Stand tall, know your worth, and let this connection unfold from that grounded, confident place. The ninth card is looking at the likely outcome if you follow the guidance the cards have given. And I pulled Five of Pentacles. Okay, so Five of Pentacles is traditionally considered one of the more challenging cards in the deck. It represents hardship, feeling left out in the cold, financial or emotional struggles, feeling unsupported. So what does this mean as a likely outcome? First, I want to say that tarot does not predict a fixed future. The cards show us the most likely path based on current energies, but we always have free will to make different choices. So this is not saying that heartbreak or difficulty is inevitable, but it is showing that there might be some challenges or disappointments that come with this situation if certain patterns continue. What I am picking up is that the Five of Pentacles might be highlighting a fear of rejection or abandonment that is present in this situation. Maybe there is a worry that you will open your heart and it will not be reciprocated in the way you hope. Maybe there is anxiety about being left out, not being chosen, not being enough. These fears might be influencing how you approach this connection and potentially creating a self-fulfilling prophecy if you are not careful. The Five of Pentacles can also indicate a situation where one person feels more invested than the other, where there is an imbalance in how much effort or emotion is being contributed. If you find yourself constantly reaching out, constantly trying to make things happen, constantly giving more than you are receiving, that is Five of Pentacles energy. And the cards might be warning you not to put yourself in that position, not to deplete yourself trying to make something work that is not naturally reciprocal. Another interpretation is about the importance of having support systems outside of this connection. The Five of Pentacles shows figures struggling outside in the cold while there is a warm lit building right behind them. Sometimes we are so focused on what we do not have that we miss the resources and support that are actually available to us. Make sure you are not putting all your emotional eggs in one basket. Maintain your friendships, your other connections, your own sources of fulfillment and joy. Do not make this one person or relationship your entire world. However, I also want to offer a more hopeful perspective on the Five of Pentacles. Sometimes this card shows up to teach us about resilience and inner strength. The challenges we face in relationships can actually strengthen us if we let them. They can teach us about our own worth, about what we will and will not accept, about how to stand on our own even when things do not go the way we hoped. So even if there are difficulties ahead, trust that you have the strength to handle them and to come out wiser on the other side. Let me pull one final card to give you a message about your own power and agency in this situation. And the last card that came through is Knight of Pentacles. This is such a grounding, stabilizing energy after all the intensity of the other cards. Knight of Pentacles is steady, reliable, practical, and methodical. This knight does not rush, does not get swept away by passion, does not make impulsive decisions. They take their time, they build things step by step, they are in it for the long haul. The message here about your power is that you have the ability to slow things down and approach this situation with more groundedness. You do not have to get caught up in the whirlwind of intense emotions and rapid movement. You can choose to be the stable force, the one who proceeds with caution and wisdom. The Knight of Pentacles is reminding you that real lasting love is built on a solid foundation, not just intense chemistry or passionate connection. Your power lies in being patient and consistent. Show up as your authentic self day after day. Do not try to be something you are not in order to keep someone's interest. Do not play games or manipulate situations. Just be genuine, be reliable, be someone who can be counted on. The Knight of Pentacles knows that true connection is built on trust, and trust takes time to establish. If this is meant to be something real, it will still be there even if you take your time with it. There is also a message here about being practical and realistic in your expectations. While it is beautiful to dream about love and to feel that intense passion, you also need to look at the concrete reality of the situation. Are your values aligned? Are your life goals compatible? Is this person showing up consistently, or are they hot and cold? The The Knight of Pentacles is asking you to pay attention to actions, not just words or feelings. What is this person actually doing to demonstrate their interest and commitment? Your power also lies in being patient with yourself and with the process. If you have made mistakes in the past in relationships, if you have patterns you are trying to break, if you have wounds you are still healing, that is okay. The Knight of Pentacles does not expect perfection, they just expect steady progress. You can take this one day at a time, one choice at a time, learning and growing as you go. You do not have to have it all figured out right now. Finally, the Knight of Pentacles is about building something of value, something that lasts. Your power is in choosing to invest your time and energy wisely. Not every intense attraction is worth pursuing. Not every passionate connection is meant to turn into something long-term. You have the wisdom to discern what is worth your investment and what is not. Trust yourself to make good choices about where you place your heart and your energy. So Scorpio, as I sit here looking at all these cards spread out in front of me, I am seeing such a complex and layered story about this intense love energy you are experiencing. There is definitely something powerful happening here, something that has the potential to be transformative and meaningful. The combination of mental clarity, karmic awakening, and deep intuition suggests this is not a superficial attraction. This is touching something real and significant within you. At the same time, the cards are being very clear that there are challenges to navigate. There might be differences in pace or approach between you and the other person. There might be fears and insecurities that need to be acknowledged and worked through. There might be a need to release old patterns and expectations in order to make room for something new. And most importantly, there is a call to remain grounded and practical even in the midst of intense emotion. What I really want you to take away from this reading is that you have so much more power in this situation than you might realize. You are not at the mercy of your feelings or at the mercy of another person's choices. You can choose how you want to show up, you can set boundaries, you can take your time, you can trust your intuition, and you can make decisions that honor your own worth and well-being. The intensity of the energy does not mean you have to act impulsively or throw caution to the wind. You can feel all the feelings and still move forward with wisdom and care. I hope this reading gave you some clarity and perspective on what you are experiencing. Remember that the cards are guidance, not absolute predictions. You always have the power to co-create your reality through your choices and intentions. Trust yourself, Scorpio. Trust your depth, trust your intuition, trust your ability to handle whatever comes your way. You are so much stronger and wiser than you sometimes give yourself credit for. If this reading resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. Do you relate to the energy the cards picked up on? Are you experiencing this kind of intensity in your love life right now? Feel free to share your thoughts because I always love hearing how these readings land for different people. And if you found this helpful, you know what to do. Send some love to this video so more Scorpios can find the guidance they need. Until next time, take care of that beautiful, intense heart of yours.